What up, YouTube? This is Gary Children 74. I made a previous video, disregard that one. I put up the wrong one. But in this video right here, I want to address this guy called Judah Yisrael. Listen to some of the crap he's saying.
Something else 400 years ago when you came off those slave ships, right? Right. Now, keep in mind the Bible is our history book. In case you didn't know it, you're going to find out one reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay? In Acts chapter 7, verse 6, this fits you, Negro. And it says, let me get it up to the camera. I apologize. Okay. And God spoke to him this way. And he said, your descendants will be strangers in a country, not their own. And they will be enslaved, and mistreated 400 years. Yes, Acts chapter 7, verse 6. Read it. Now, keep in mind that happened to us, all right? And we lost our identity. We have American last names. That lets us know.
Number one, how did that make us Israelites? Because he quotes some passages out of the Bible. This brother evidently don't know anything about history. A lot of people were taken slaves as slaves in other lands. Throughout, you can go through the pages of history and find all that out. But he doesn't know. He is African. He's just in denial about it. We're not no damn dusty, dirty Hebrews or people from Judah. Actually, the Judeans were Ethiopians from northern Ethiopia. When Judah got attacked, since they want to talk all the scripture stuff, when Judah got attacked by the Assyrians, where did Judeans go? Where did they flee? They fled in Ethiopia, where they originally came from. Okay? Excuse me again. The Hebrews are not our ancestors. We're not from the tribe of Judah. These tribes, brother Judah, Israel, did not even historically exist. You got that book from Babylon and Timbuktu, but you forgot to get another book. This right here. See that guy on the horse? That's your Hebrew Israelite right there. That's you with the spear and the shield. We are not no Hebrew Israelite. But that guy right there is actually a Muslim. A cousin to the Israelite. A cousin to the Hebrew. The cousin to the Judean. Okay, they were Asiatic tribes. We're not Judeans. All that 12 tribe crap was based on the 12 zodiac signs and another story called the 12 kings of Egypt. Okay? To say, well, we don't know what part of Africa we came from. Remember, they were taking slaves. They weren't slaves then. They were captives, prisoners of war from all over the continent, not just one particular area. They brought them to the west coast of Africa and then took them across the Atlantic. Okay? So basically it was tribes fighting tribes, nations fighting nations. Now I want to ask you a question. Who were the Africans that said the African Americans were not African? Who were the Africans that said we were Hebrews or Judeans? Don't give me that crap about that 70 AD crap from getting chased out of Jerusalem in 70 AD. It's really called the Siege of Jerusalem of 70 AD. We were not in that. Those people came around our ancestors. We have always been African, okay? Africa, a cable line, that's where we come from. Our earliest ancestors came from the Nile Valley when civilization was being first produced. Historically, there was no Israel, there was no Judah. These places didn't even exist. So we didn't come from these people. A lot of you Israelites keep on trying to quote scriptures and try to fit us with the scriptures. Most of that stuff is wrong. There's many traditions in the Bible that say the Hebrews weren't even slaves for no 400 years. Okay? Some is all off. Alright, in the next video I'm going to go into all of that. But y'all quote scriptures, mainly y'all go into the book of Deuteronomy talking about the curses and the blessings and all that nonsense. No. That's not speaking of us. Even in Deuteronomy 28:68, it's not talking about us. At the end of that scripture, it says, no man shall buy you. But no man shall buy you. Yeah, you'll be sold. You'll be auctioned off, but nobody will buy you. That's what that means. That means you'll be so worthless, nobody will have nothing to do with you. That means the slave master wouldn't even bid on you. So you'll be a worthless slave Okay? So you wouldn't be working for somebody in slavery and captivity. Nobody wanted nothing to do with you. So you just standing there all alone. Even the slave master walk away and say, I don't want nothing to do with him or her. But us, we were bought soon as we were put on the auction block. So that scripture's not talking about us. Y'all always try to twist up these scriptures and think we don't know what we're talking about. No. Okay? I do not follow Hebrew traditions at all because I know historically who those people were. My ancestors was this right here. They gave Moses the law. Okay? Moses got his laws from the laws of Ma'at. Okay? Your 10 Commandments came from here. That's a historical fact. Everybody knows that. Anybody who studies history knows that. Okay? We're not Hebrews. We're not from Judah. Yes, Africans did rule Judah. I mean, not Judah, but that area. Once upon a time. But actually, Judeans and Hebrews were all criminals of that area. They were trying to steal. It was a political move that they tried to do, was try to take over the economy of Egypt. That was your real exodus. People being evicted for trying to do something they had no business doing. Okay? They were raiding and stealing off the trade routes. They were stealing and robbing the caravans that went in from Egypt to Palestine. Palestine at the time was only called the Holy Land because of the trade routes. Okay? The story you got about the four winds coming up against Israel and all that crap had nothing to do with Israel itself. It was talking about the land, not the people. The four winds wanted that land because the land was where the trade routes were. Whoever controlled the trade routes controlled the economy, the known world's economy at that time. I'm talking straight history, not biblical nonsense. In fact, your scriptures were copied from ancient Egyptian creation stories. Your Genesis came from the Theban creation stories. Okay? The Memphite theology. That's where your Genesis comes from. Your flood stories. All of that came out of African spirituality, African folklore. So being a Hebrews or Judeans or whatever, all were criminals of the Middle East. They were barbaric people. They were nomadic tribes. Just like Sarah Susan said, he said once about a couple years ago, he said they were vagabonds, which they historically were. Okay? So get your study up, dude. We ain't no Judeans. We ain't from no tribe of Israel. We ain't from no tribe of Benjamin. Those tribes never historically existed. We come from the Nile Valley. Okay? In the Egyptian text, they mention no Ham, no Noah, no Adam, because their literature predates anything the Hebrew have. They said, we come from the beginning of the Nile, where the god Happy dwells, from the foothills of the mountain of the moon. That's the interior of Africa. That is south, okay? South of the Nile, in the Great Lake regions. The Nile flows from south to north. The Congo River flows from east to west. That's how we got into West Africa, long before the white man and long before the Asiatic. Hebrews and Judeans were actually Asiatics. They were nomadic tribes from beyond the Euphrates. They traveled from beyond. That's why when they got expelled from Egypt, the Egyptians put up a border at the Euphrates to keep them out. That was your exodus. It was an eviction, throwing these so-called Hebrews, which were nothing but Hyksos, out of Egypt. They were the only people historically known to come in Egypt that way. They're just a biblical name for them is the Hebrew or the Israelite. Israelites were not chosen by God to do nothing. In fact, the Hebrew God is actually one of the gods of Egypt, which is Set Typhon. You got to study more than just to quote scriptures, all you Israelites really. But I'm really addressing this guy who said Negroes are not of African descent. I'm going to do a part 2 to this to explain this Negro stuff. We're going to clear this up. Yes, Negroes are Egyptians. Negroes came from south of the Sahara, not from Judah, not from Israel. Okay, brother? Get your facts straight. Do some type of historical research. Stop trying, y'all Israelites always try to twist up that doctrine on the Negro stuff. Negroes came out of Africa, south of the Sahara. And I'm going to explain this Negro crap right quick in the second video. Hotep.